Oh, hi. Well, thanks everyone for joining again. For those of you who some of you will know me, I'm Richard Lloyd. I'm Precision Livestock Manager at Innovation for Agriculture, and just want to briefly go through the Climate Farm Demo Programme and bits about it and what's expected and what all the benefits are. It will be a brief presentation. The aim is to have a discussion and questions afterwards. But if you have any anything urgent on a specific slide, then please do put your hand up or put a question in the chat, and Holly will intervene and ask for the question. So my background is genetics, dairy, worked for Innovation for Agriculture since 2016, headed up a European project in data-driven dairy decisions. Now, this is obviously all about climate, and to be fair, the UK agriculture has had, and this is a European slide, but the UK agriculture has got a really good track record. We've already reduced our greenhouse gases by 22% since 1990. You can see from the slide here that a lot of that was in the early 19s, and it's sort of flatlining a little bit now. What we can also see on the graph at the left-hand side here is that average temperatures are still rising, and they are, if anything, increasingly rising at the moment. And that's causing a couple of things. It's obviously it's causing the spotlight to be put on the effects of UK agriculture, as well as other carbon burning, should we say, historic carbon burning operations. Also, we are seeing the effect on our farming. Our farming is changing because we have more severe climate. So the good news is that already there are a lot more than 40 mitigation practices that we can already use on farm. And the great news about this is it's a double win situation, because on many of the mitigation practices, they actually lead to more efficiency and more profit on farm. And in addition, obviously there's more work at the moment looking at carbon sequestration as well, which is going to be probably a big factor in how we address carbon long term. So the Climate Farm Demo project is a big European project. It's one of the mainstays. There are a couple of sister projects with it, which I'll discuss later. But it was going to involve 1,500 demo farms over Europe in 27 countries, and over 12, and focus on 12 thematic areas within the farming. And then we're going to look at the knowledge of all the knowledge that is gained with this on a country level. And when I say on a country level, we're probably going to cluster according to climate. So the UK, France, and probably some of the Scandinavian countries will have our own specific areas, because obviously we're a lot different from the likes of Spain and the southern Mediterranean countries. So if you want to know what the thematic areas, these are they. Yeah, so crop management, grassland management, forage production, agroforestry and relation to landscape, herd management, manure storage and spreading, soil health and biodiversity, additives for reducing enteric methane emissions, energy management, biogas, and that's in the European spelling, production, water management, and rewarding mechanisms. Now, and we'll come on to later what we're looking for in farms who want to be part of Climate Farm Demo in the UK. But what we're not expecting farms to be active in obviously all of these thematic areas, but obviously there will be 1, 2, 3, or 4, maybe even 5 of these areas that each individual farm have a real interest in. So as far as the split of farms, we're looking as demo farms, we're looking at about 15% horticulture, 25% specialised arable, and 60% animal husbandry and mixed farming system farms, and of all of these, there is an expectation or aim to get 20 to 25% of them being organic. Now, the project is not just about demo farms. It's also has a lot of other work streams within the project. But as far as the demo farms are concerned, what will happen to these demo farms are that there will be an initial carbon audit, and then based on that carbon audit, then the advisor will come through and do a tailored adaptation and mitigation plan for the individual farm. Yeah, that will be reviewed annually. Oh, and I haven't said the length of the project. We're looking at the demo farm network running for 6 years. Yeah, and during that 6 years, so from October this year, 23, for the next 6 years, we're looking at 3 demonstrations per farm. That is 1 every 2 years. There's also work streams looking at living labs. That's co-designing new innovative solutions in each of the 12 thematic areas. There is another work package that's looking at analysing all of the different carbon tools and evaluating their methodology and coming out with recommendations on these tools. And another work stream looking at rewarding mechanisms with a view to influencing policy and hopefully instigating national rewarding mechanisms for maybe carbon capture where this isn't necessarily profitable on farm. And the other part of this is we'll be training up climate smart farm advisors or climate smart advisors to go on farm, and also potentially to be advisors later on. So I just wanted to put this in place to really just to clarify what I mean by adaptation and mitigation. So obviously we've all seen the climate is changing. We actually really make really good champagne in the south of England, probably I would say better than France at the moment, or potentially anyway. So we can certainly see things are changing. So the adaptation is, what farming practices do we need to change to cope with the climate change effects that we are already seeing? Yeah, and an example of that may be, for instance, use of herbal lays, which are more drought resistant, etc. But the mitigation is, what can we do in our own businesses that will reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and hopefully mitigate the climate change in the future. And the great news from this is many of these are centered around efficiency and will actually lead to more sustainable and more profitable farming systems themselves. So as I said, it's pretty much a double win on that. So if you look at the project itself, so this is the estimated impact of the project when they managed to get the European funding. And just on a technical note, our funding comes from UKRI, because we are now, after Brexit and Northern Ireland Protocol, only associate members within the Horizon Europe programme. So impact, we're looking at a 30% reduction in agricultural greenhouse gases between now and 2030. Looking at improving the farm's resilience. Obviously, 1,500 pilot farms. There'll be 4,500 demonstration events, and it's estimated over 250,000 different actors within agriculture engaged with the project. The project itself has 80 partners in 27 countries, and the makeup of the partners is very, very diverse, from universities, producers, associations, advisory companies, and the list goes on. And obviously, from the climate smart solutions side, because we're going to be doing an initial audit and a last audit on each farm, we should be able to estimate the effects that we may have from the implementation of the adaptation and mitigation programs. But there'll be a lot of benchmark data that comes from this project, and to the farms themselves, they will have long-term advice over the next 6 years from a dedicated advisor, and we'll come up with practical solutions and economic solutions for greenhouse gas mitigation in all of the different climatic areas within Europe. And as I've mentioned, we'll be doing 12 living labs. In the UK itself, we have 130 demo farms. This is split between 3 partners: ourselves, Innovation for Agriculture, ADAS, and Abacus Agriculture. And obviously within those, we'll be doing over the next 6 years, 390 demonstration events. So I'll put this slide up. This is a sort of internal project slide, but it gives you an idea of the timings of things. So we had a kickoff meeting back in December, and as is all projects, it's a fairly slow start as they have all the guide materials coming through. But now we're in the recruitment stage of the 1,500 farms from June 23 till the end of September. Yeah. And concurrently, we're selecting the tools the carbon tools that we'll be looking at doing the audits on. We're looking at the guidelines for the adaptation mitigation plans, and obviously training the advisors that are coming through. And then from October, you'll see the start of doing the initial audits on farm, and then after that, probably I'm guessing now, but the expectation would be December through to February 24. We'll be putting the adaptation mitigation plans in place, and these plans will get reviewed annually. So the project itself, obviously, we've got all the work packages within there. There will be this really good carbon and climate toolbox where we will identify the best mitigation measures, the best adaptation measures. And it's quite useful being a European project, because some of the adaptation measures we are going to be putting in place in a warming UK are probably things that are common practice in some of the more southern European regions. These will all feed into the audits and the adaptation. In fact, the audits will feed back into the mitigation on the benchmarking, and we come up with the plans. And then the purpose of the demonstrations are to actually showcase, well, best practice, showcase maybe even the journey that individual farmers go on from not really putting anything in place to and what has the effect been of putting into place the different mitigations and adaptations. Yeah, or even it's demonstrating new techniques, and maybe they are early adopters in some measures. So what are we looking for as far as the pilot demo farmers or the climate demo farmers that come on? Well, I think the first thing, I think we want someone who has a very open mindset, who is very critical, I guess, as well, but is willing to learn and actually thinks doing things in a climate smart way is actually a sensible path to take. Yeah. As far as the demonstrations are concerned, I think it's important to get successful demonstrations that the farms are willing to actually share what they're doing and be honest in what they're sharing. So what has worked, what hasn't worked, both now, in the past, and what the plans are in the future. And if you can share more financial information, then that's even better, because obviously the whole, to be successful, every action has to be profitable for the farms that are concerned. And also looking for people to, whether it's within farm type or within thematic area, to actually get engaged with other people with similar interests and actually exchange with those, network with these people at a national and European level. The benefits, obviously you're going to get these 6 years free advice. You'll have these, you'll be able to implement the tailored adaptation and mitigation plans. There'll be a lot of peer-to-peer interaction and learning. And you maybe wonder why I say, oh, the benefit is you can host a demo event. Certainly attending demo events are useful. Well, what we're finding, and this program itself follows on from a European program, a project called Nefertiti, which really looked into best practice at hosting events. And what we found in that project is that where you have really good facilitated events and everybody is encouraged to contribute, not just the host farmer, but you're almost looking at ideal events are smaller events where people are comfortable in putting their own opinion across. We're finding the host farm actually gains as much as the people who attend the demo events themselves, and they're really quite rewarding experiences. But just to confirm the farmer benefits of wanting to join, 6 years free support from a dedicated advisor, I've already mentioned. Obviously, I've mentioned the network. I've mentioned the improvement in farm efficiency and profitability. But I think there's also benefit in being seen as a leader in the journey to net zero. And that can be a benefit in your standing with whoever buys your product, if it's a commercial organization or a supermarket, or if you sell your products direct, then to the consumer direct, because it's obviously high on the list of, and it will become increasingly so, high on the list of consumer concerns. We all want to understand ELMS and know what ELMS is when it comes, when we get the full details, but we will certainly be in a situation to demystify that to all of our demo farms, and potentially with the rewarding mechanisms and the influence on policy, will potentially generate new income streams on farms, especially in carbon sequestration, biodiversity, etc. And this is something for, as I said, all three of the organizations are going to be recruiting farmers, not just IFA, but certainly with IFA, there's a possibility, if you're someone who wants to go on to become a part-time climate, or even a full-time climate smart advisor, then there is a sister project that we are involved with that has only just started, and we will be training up farmers and other people as climate smart advisors, and not only as a training free, but we should also be able to contribute to that. But if you are interested in that, then obviously it's an individual conversation with us at a later time. And there are wider benefits. Obviously, the wider benefits is the whole country and Europe and stroke the world accelerating the progress to net zero. I think it will really have a very positive message and strengthen the reputation of the farming industry. Obviously, I've mentioned we'll be able to influence UK farm policy, and having these this network of farms, then I think we'll have access to new innovations and best practice. We can improve the quality of the farm knowledge exchange and the quality of the demonstration meetings themselves. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of benchmark data that emanates from the project, which means we can make a lot better real-time management decisions on the best, most cost-effective ways of mitigating climate change in the future. And for anyone who's a third party, not a farmer, but it is an organisation that is invested with really good new products or innovations that's going to help in this area, I think that this network is an ideal network to co-create, showcase and promote this innovation. So next steps, well, what we're asking is that you register the farm, your interest if you want to become a demo farm. So if you want now, just take your mobile phone and take a picture of the QR code, and that will take you straight to the farm. I think Tash, if you can put the address in the chat at some stage, that'd be great too. and that'll come to a form. And what we're going to be asking on that form is some basic farm information, and also which of the thematic areas are relevant to your farm. If you want more information, or you don't want to do the form, then you can contact us, email on climatesmartfarming@i4agri.org. At the end of the day, we're wanting to have a spread of farms across the UK, and with IFA in England in particular, but obviously ADAS and Abacus also work within the UK, and we are obviously looking to get the demographics of the farm pretty much in line with the 60% mixed arable livestock arable farms, and 15% horticulture and 25% arable farms. So I'll leave that on for now. I can come back to this later. So if you do want to follow, because obviously some people might want to get involved as a demo farm, other people might want to come to demo events. So the Climate Farm Demo, the project, has a social media presence, as you'd expect. So you've got Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and web page addresses and handles, etc. On the left-hand side. You can go on to and it is available now, the Climate Farm Demo website, and you can sign up for the newsletter on there. And alternatively, if you want to do via IFA and know the IFA events coming through, you can access the IFA website at www.i4agri.org. And if you scroll a long way down to the bottom on the right-hand side, you can put your email address in to sign up to the newsletters there. So that is the end of the formal presentation. I hope I've stimulated some questions, and now's the time to get your hand up, and we will get a discussion going on what your thoughts are.
Great, thanks, Richard. So yeah, does anyone have any questions on anything around Climate Farm Demo or in general? If you want to raise your hand or speak now.
Only to say that on your app, which I just went to, I can only actually highlight, I think you're asking for which areas are of most interest to you, but it's only going to let you do one on that drop down. And I think you probably want more than one.
Yeah. If that's the case, Ben, then there's a glitch in the system. It's not meant to be a radio button. It's meant to be a click all. Well, I will have a look at, or we will have a look at that, and thanks for that feedback. Yeah,
no problem.
Okay.
Anyone else got any questions?
Well, whilst I'm rolling, so obviously I'm interested and would like to do this.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about how going forward we manage if there is a conflict between what we need to do to, and I know I have listened to your presentation, but what we need to do to maintain our business and what we're being advised to do to improve our credentials, if you like, or our sustainability, and how that potential conflict gets managed.
Yeah, but I understand that completely, and I think we have to be realistic in this regard in any case. Yeah, in that obviously every farm is going to be treated as an individual. Yeah, and we are not going to transform a farm overnight from being your current farming practices to where you want to get in an ideal world in the future. So there'll be a choice of things that we will do or to implement in the first year of the 6-year process. I think certainly as an organization, we want to focus on both things that will have a larger impact on climate mitigation, or put you in a better situation for actually coping with the climate change at the moment, but also practices that are cost effective and profitable for the farm itself. And I think they're the measures that we would want to focus on. Yeah. And maybe there are some things coming on in the future that you're aware of, but would only be you only get to do if at some stage you're in a situation of upgrading your buildings or doing something. You've got to frame everything within the context of individual farm, and I don't think we can expect a list of 10 or 12 things to do in the first year. I think that is should we say impractical. I think we have to form achievable, easy and profitable plans on an each farm basis, and then show how that goes on to everybody else.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Partly.
Yeah.
So what is, from a legal perspective, what are we signing up to?
Okay, so from a legal perspective, the actual we are asking you, to one, share your information with us to do the the farm or the initial farm audit and the final farm audit. Yeah. We are going to draw up with you as a client or a farmer advisor situation and agree with you with your input the plans that you want to take forward on your farm initially, and then we'll review those every year. And we are asking or expecting you to hold 3 demonstration events over the 6-year period from October 2023 to there. And that is the expectation. As far as GDPR and everything, we will visit you individually. You'll tell us what you want to, information you want to keep private, what information you're willing to share. Yeah. Obviously, as far as as I've mentioned before, as far as demonstrations are concerned, the more open you are at a demonstration event, and the more open you are, or the more willing you are to share, should we say, the more financial details and there, the more people will get out of the demonstration. But I think also the more you'll get out of the demonstration from the feedback you get from other people who are on the farm.
Yeah, get that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, Holly. I'm sorry, I don't think our farm is in the right place for this at the moment, but I also facilitate farmers groups, and there's quite a number of farmers who I think would be really well suited to this project because it aligns with a lot of other stuff that's going on around. And that's kind of my point, really, in that we're at this kind of point where there's that many meetings and information out there at the moment. It's a bit swamping of farmers, if you know what I'm saying. So it would be great if we can maybe align local work with other stuff that's going on and things like that. That would be incredibly useful. Saves us doing things twice, and it makes the whole job a lot more cost effective. But yeah, be really keen to cajole some farmers in your direction.
Okay, can I just say, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to be inclusive with other climate projects that are going on, and almost, and while the climate farm demo project is 130 farms, there's no reason why we can't get a bigger momentum going in the UK. And the last thing I want this to be seen as a competing demo network that competes against every other demo. No, I want to be inclusive, and whether and hopefully also include farms from the Agri-Epi or HEB farms or whatever but we don't want it just to be the old usual suspects. We also want we want, should we say, normal farmers, if I can use that as templates, because the importance obviously is having demonstrations on farms that people can also relate to. It's great to see some farms that are pushing the boundaries and having those on, but it's also great to have farms say, oh yeah, I've had exactly the same problems with this. I see you where you are, and I see what you've done. Yeah, that will really inspire me, because I can see I can make a change on my farm in the same way.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you. Cheers.
Great.
Right, I was just wondering about the climate smart advisors, and obviously the first wave of them you said would be sort of October. Is who's going to be sort of organising that? Who's eligible? Like, would vets be able to get involved?
Right. Okay, Rebecca. So there are two different projects, okay, and there are two different time scales involved. What we've said as IFA is we will give priority on training up climate smart advisors, to farms that are climate farm demo farm, and the two provisos are that they will actually do and it's in their plan to become a climate smart advisor, not just a it's not just a sort of pay, but they do need to do that, and so that's basically the one proviso on that. Now the timings of the climate smart advisor, we're probably looking about 3 years down the line, to be perfectly honest. We're in the first year of the setup of the climate smart advisor project, and it takes that to get all the training manuals etc going up, and then they're gonna put the first initial rounds of them in from April 24 on a 2-year thing. So it's probably going to be around about 26 when we are going to be training advisors in any significant number. But your answer to that is yes. I am sure we can train vets up. We can train anyone up who wants to be able to advise on climate around the farm. In the meantime, there will be a lot of individual knowledge on the Climate Farm Demo website on each thematic area, so you can certainly gen yourself up on knowledge. But as far as training up for the advisor, we're probably looking 2026 onwards for that.
Great, thank you very much.
Great. Any more questions from anyone? No, that's great. Well, obviously, if you think of anything after this meeting, do drop us a line either by email or message me. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. But yeah, do drop us an email or give us a call if you have any questions you think of after this. But otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. And this recording will be available on the website